topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show where we bring you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. We have a new audience, a new TikTok audience that I am so excited about. It's a little bit different than we've done in the past. We're on 70 different platforms, but it's so nice on my cell phone, which we're running right now, that I can see all these people who are joining in on our show today. Listen, folks, if you're into longevity, anti-aging, functional medicine, we have the greatest doctor in the United States on our show. He's probably not going to be happy about me saying that, but I think he is. We get more people, more listeners and viewers telling us how much they enjoy our show. Let me introduce you to our TikTok, not to our regular audience. Let me introduce you to Dr. Eldred Taylor. Good morning, Dr. Taylor.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. How you doing?
I am doing great. I'm really excited. I understand you are already on TikTok already, and you have got a huge audience. How do they find you on TikTok?
Hey, I just got on TikTok maybe 6 months ago, and I started doing TikTok lives. To tell you the truth, I thought TikTok was a place where people did stupid dancing, and I just never even paid any attention to it. I thought this is something kids do. I don't do that. But then I had a patient come in and say, hey, look, Dr. Taylor, there's people out there who are talking about hormones, and they're really misleading women. You need to get on social media. And I'm like, okay, all right, let me see what's going on. So I look on TikTok and Facebook, and I hear all these people talking about estrogen and blood testing and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, I've got to do something. So even though I didn't understand anything, I was like, let me get on TikTok Live. And I was surprised that I thought all of this stuff about hormones was just a United States problem, but it's a problem all over the world. It's people from all over who are asking me the same questions about hormones. So that's why I kind of shifted and started saying, hey, we have to end this hormone confusion because it's causing so many problems. And you're talking about with longevity and all this is looking at, and I just did a show, is talking about most of the confusion is due to the fact that people are getting tested wrong. They're looking in the blood and not the saliva, and they're focused on the wrong hormones. They're looking at estrogen and testosterone, and really it's progesterone and cortisol that's causing all of the problems. And I do TikTok lives and I show them that, hey, you don't have 15 problems. You have 2 problems. You've been tested wrong, and then you have been focused on the wrong hormones, basically because the wrong test gave the doctor the wrong conclusion, and so therefore you got the wrong treatment. So that's what my TikTok audience knows me for, is trying to end hormone confusion. Now, your audience is more of a longevity, but let me tell you, if you live longer, you will be a lot happier if your hormones are corrected and your energy level is correct. And that's what happens when you get your progesterone right and your cortisol right. You begin to want to live longer instead of saying, am I going to have to live the rest of my life being miserable with hot flashes and can't sleep and gaining weight? So that's the difference. So hopefully my TikTok crowd will start, listening to the show on a regular basis. So that would be great.
Hey, Dr. Taylor, since we have I'm looking at my cell phone. I'm seeing all these people who are joining in. It's
Well, good.
amazing. I want people to know who you are first. So we're going to
Yeah.
kind of do a reintroduction because you
Okay.
have the most incredible story, Dr. Taylor.
Yeah. So, I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. I originally trained at Emory University. That's how I got to Atlanta. Did my medical school here and then did a residency in OBGYN. Married my wife, who is also a doctor. She's in family practice and psychiatry, originally trained. But when my wife started having issues with hormones, and I saw that what I learned about hormones was not helping her, we both kind of started searching, and we began to understand saliva testing and how that tells you what the hormones are really doing, and the importance of progesterone. And these are things that I didn't learn in my residency and still aren't being taught. That's why there's still so much confusion, because we're being taught the same things we were being taught 35 years ago. And so anyway, we started looking at hormones in a different way. We wrote a book called Are Your Hormones Making You Sick? Talking about what we're just talking about now. But then after about 3 or 4 years, we began to understand that, hey, it's not about hormones, it's really about stress. And we wrote a book called The Stress Connection. And so for the last 20, 25 years, we've been treating women and men by looking at saliva testing and then using the correct hormones and understanding cortisol. And we know it works. We built a practice on it for 25 years. I stopped doing OBGYN in 2006, and we went full speed ahead in this. And we're so glad we did. And now, after doing this for 25 years, I'm trying to let the world know what we found out 25 years ago. And there's so much counter intelligence out there. You really have to kind of bombard social media with it. So that's why we're trying to be on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, because I believe that that information that I'm giving should have been taught in fifth grade health class, so that women and men understood how their hormones work, so they're not confused when they're 40 and 50 and have gotten a hysterectomy or may have been diagnosed with some cancer or taken some medication that caused the problem. If we can end this hormone confusion, we can prevent so many problems when women get down the road in their 40s and 50s and have to make decisions about hysterectomies and breast cancer biopsies, and all of these things can be prevented if we could only understand hormones.
You know, what I've learned from doing so many of your shows also is stress plays such an important role on our health.
Yeah.
And I think,
Mhm.
Dr. Taylor, with everything that's going on in the world, I mean, you just look at gas
Yeah.
price, that's stressful.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
stressful right there. But you have
Yeah.
taught me that that's one of the main reasons for people
Yeah.
decline in their health is stress.
The stress. Yeah, because here's how you have to look at stress. Stress is your ability to adapt to situations, okay? So the more changes that you have to adapt to, the more stressful it is. Changing gas prices, changing presidents, changing weather, all of those. How can you adapt? I always say the reason the dinosaurs aren't here is they could not adapt to the new environment. Okay, so and so that shows you that stress will kill you. They were stressed enough to kill. They couldn't adapt to the environment. So if you can't adapt to what's going on around you, it's a stress. If you can't adapt to a new job, what does it cause? Stress. Okay, if you can't adapt to a new diet, what does it cause? Stress. So that's how you have to look at it. And the more things that pile upon you that you have to adjust to, changes in your kids, changes in your marriage, changes in your relationship with your parents, because now you're taking care of them. And all of those changes, what that does is that wears out your ability to adapt. And so now even small things are harder for you to adapt to because your adaptive capacity has decreased. That you can find in a cortisol curve. And if you don't do it, you won't see it. So you won't know that that's your problem. When you do that cortisol test in the saliva, it's easy to see why you're having trouble adapting. You don't have enough cortisol. And I don't know if there's very few people who are testing cortisol curves. And that is the key. That's why we wrote the book, The Stress Connection. It is connected to everything. So you need to be able to see it so then you can do something about it. I always say you cannot manage what you cannot measure. So now that you have measured it, now I can manage it. Okay, now I see what's going on. It's low in the morning. That's why I don't have any energy. There's things you can do to correct it. It's high at night. That's why I'm waking up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. There's things you can do to correct it. So that's what you need. If you can see it, then you can understand it. And that's why we do the test. So you can see what your body is saying to you, and you don't have to guess, and you don't have to be confused.
Hey, Dr. Taylor, so you're out of the Atlanta, Georgia area, but we have made the show a national show on the way we market it. So we have people from all over the country now who are listening to the show, who are watching the show. Tell people, thank God for telemedicine, right?
Yeah. And you know, so what I say is we can do a telehealth visit. So I try to give you health advice. When I call it telemedicine, then there's some, but it's telehealth, because a lot of times what I'm doing, I can do it and don't give you a prescription or anything. I'm just trying to give you clarity. And then what we can do is, there are some supplements. We have a whole company called Taylor MD Formulations, and we formulated those over 15, 20 years of patients. So we know that the supplements work because we can redo the testing and we can see that the test has changed. So the patient feels better, the test has changed. So now we have proof that, hey, look, you started out like this, now your cortisol curve has gone up, you feel better, we know that your adrenal gland is getting rehabilitated. So that's what we do. And we can do that on a telemedicine, telehealth call. I have it where you can purchase a saliva test and I'll send you a video review and give you the next steps. That's all in all of my links that you see down there. So I am trying to make it available, and we even ship to places out of the country. Now it costs a little bit more in shipping, but you'll see that on TikTok or whatever, there's people from all over the world who are watching this, from places like Thailand and Australia. I'm amazed. I thought it was a United States problem, that it was our medical system problem, but it's not. It's a universal problem. Women are confused all over the world. So that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to end hormone confusion worldwide. And I know that people on Instagram are all over the world. So we're going to start trying to stream to all of the platforms, because I'm on a mission, man. And I believe I can do it, is that we can end this. We can get these women to understand it. I had a person on TikTok. She was a guest, and I had her answer questions from the audience because she knew enough that she could help somebody else end hormone confusion. And that's my goal, is that women learn enough where they can pass this on. And after I'm dead and gone, there's still people out there who are passing this information on. So, that's what you kind of think of as you get older. I'm 65. So I'm like, how can this keep going, even though I'm not going to be here forever? So I'm on this mission to get enough people out there telling the truth that we end this hormone confusion.
Dr. Taylor, I think it was so gutsy for you. You had this great practice, an OB-GYN practice. You took that practice and went a completely different way, not knowing if it was going to be successful or not, but you had enough, I guess you felt enough that this was an important problem. And I've been able to watch for the last 4 years where you've taken this from. It's just, it's amazing. I want on the show, because God, your show goes by so fast. There's a lot of people, when they saw you were coming on, wanted to know about weight loss. And I want, there's so much bad information out there about what we call the skinny injection. Can you, first of all, kind of explain it? And that, it's almost like some of this stuff you read would scare you away from using that.
Yeah. Well, here's what I will tell you about the GLP-1s. That's what you're talking about. There's semaglutide, there's tirzepatide. So here's the problem, is that if you don't monitor it correctly, you can lose muscle mass. And losing muscle mass is like the most unhealthy thing you can do, because your muscles aren't just for movement. They do a lot of other things, increase your basal metabolic rate, so you burn more energy. So anyway, long story short, this is what I'll tell you about GLP-1s. You need to make sure that you're doing some kind of body composition analysis. That's what we do. Either we tell them to get a body composition scale, or they have to come into the office. So what that tells us, are you losing fat or losing muscle? So when you lose fat, that's healthy. When you lose muscle, that's not. So you want to monitor that. A lot of places just give you the give you the GLP-1s and just let you kind of do it willy-nilly. That's what causes the problem. The other thing I'll tell you is the GLP-1s won't work as well if your hormones are out of balance, because estrogen makes you store fat. And if you're trying to use the GLP-1 and your estrogen is out of balance, it won't work. And I've seen that in my office, is that they'll say, hey, I tried the GLP-1, it didn't work. We fixed their hormones, we put them back on it, and it works. The other thing we try to do is during that 6 months where we're trying to help them lose weight with GLP-1, I actually developed an app that will help people maintain their weight, to tell them all of the things that they can do or stop doing to maintain their weight after they have finished the GLP-1s, because I know that's a problem. I may have gotten success, but how do I maintain it? And there's a lot of little things you can do that can help you maintain your weight, like when you eat, how much do you chew your food all the way? Do you take a walk after you eat? All of these things that don't cost you anything. And GLP-1s are expensive. So I actually created an app. Like if you wanted a GLP and couldn't afford it, or if you had one and don't want to keep paying for it, because any drug would love to keep you on it for your life. And so what we try to do is say, okay, you've gotten down to your weight. Here are some things you can do, add it to your lifestyle, all of this stuff to help you to maintain it. And part of that is making sure your hormones stay balanced, because if they get out of balance, you're going to gain the weight back. And if that was your initial problem, you still got it, you're still going to gain the weight back.
I got to tell you, because the president made an announcement yesterday that I think starting July the 1st, Medicare, if you're under Medicare, that I think Ozempic, I think maybe all of them are going to be $50 a month, which is a major discount. But these people going on it for the first time are still not knowledgeable. I mean, you hear about side effects, and sometimes it scares people away. But I think that if people decide to go on this, they should contact you and not just go on it.
Yeah. And this is what I'll tell you. If you talk about 65 and older people, the worst thing that can happen to them is for them to lose muscle. Okay. And so, because it's hard enough to maintain your muscle as you get older. So if you get on a hormone and it makes it where it's easier for you to lose muscle, that's one of the worst things that can happen. So yeah, I hadn't heard that, but yeah, anytime you do that, you're going to get some abuse, and you're going to get some people who are going to, So you're right. I didn't know that. So I need to, that's even a bigger reason.
Just happened last night.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So that's even a bigger reason to try and get this app out to let people know, hey, here's what you need to do. Because even if I don't give you the GLP-1, it tells you where you can get a body composition scale, all of that. So, so that just tells me I need to get on that, because that's going to happen in July. So, all right, I can start educating the public about that. Okay.
Because there's so many people that don't know the education. Tell people about some of the side effects.
Well, the biggest one, the biggest one is that if you go up too quickly, go up on the dose too quickly, you graduate the dose up. If you go up too quickly, you will have awful nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, because it slows down the stomach. It almost paralyzes the stomach. So it can't send anything down, or if it does, it's all watery, and then it sends it up. So some people say they can't eat anything for 2-3 days. And I've seen that even when you go carefully, patients can still have these issues. So, but if someone is sending you the semaglutide or the Ozempic, and you're drawing it up yourself, what people do, they think a little bit is good and more is better, but that's not the case. You have to go up slowly. Yes. And because you'll see everything on the internet about how they had a stomach paralysis or they had pancreatitis. It's really because they weren't being monitored appropriately. That's really the issue.
And what about once you say reach your goal? Do you have to continue with it, or do you go on some kind of maintenance program?
Well, we usually put them on a maintenance program where they take a low dose, like once a week, or either they stretch out their dose. Instead of doing it once a week, they do it every 2, 3, or 4 weeks. But our ultimate goal, because like I will tell you, after COVID, I gained 40 pounds. I lost 20 of it. Then I started using a GLP-1. I lost the 20, but I haven't taken any about a year and a half. But I changed my lifestyle. I'm mostly plant-based now. I go to the gym 3 times a week. I'm very careful about what I eat. And it's not even like it's a chore anymore, because actually the GLP-1 helped me to get rid of my need for meat. I really eat meat very seldom now. I used to drink wine, in the evening. I lost my taste for wine, because the GLP-1, it does something to your brain to help you get rid of cravings. But then after that,
Yes.
you've got to try and change your lifestyle to maintain that.
Dr. Taylor, what's the best way, to get on your mailing list, your website? What is the best way to reach you?
Yeah, what I would tell you is go to that, all my links, or you can go to any of that, taylormedicalgroup.com, all my links. That's the best place. I have like 15 links, different products, I have all kinds of, so go to all my links. That makes it easier. All my links at .com/EBTaylorMD. And that would be the best thing. You can go to my practice website. Again, we can do telemedicine visits there. So, or just DM us or do something. I will try my best to answer your questions and get you on the road to where you can feel good again. Okay.
Dr. Taylor is with us the first Wednesday of the month at 10 o'clock Eastern time. You have your own show. Is your show's every Wednesday at 9 o'clock?
At 9 o'clock. I leave there and I got about 10 minutes and I have to come to your show the first Wednesday. I always have to think, oh, wow, it's first Wednesday. I got 2 shows. So, but yeah, every Wednesday, it's called Ageless Blueprint. So look me up every Wednesday. I'm on live and you can ask questions. And hopefully I'm going to be on Instagram and Facebook live here real soon. We'll see how that works.
I want to know, I have never asked you this. We got a minute left. When are you going to bring your wife on?
She got to be able to get up at 9 o'clock. We have to do a pre-recorded one with her. She's not an early bird. Yeah, she's not an early bird. Now she catches her second wind 5, 6 o'clock, and I'm ready to shut down. Now that used to be a cause, a reason for conflict. But then what we said, okay, I'm most productive in the morning. She's most productive at night. That worked great when we had small kids. So we just like, hey, now we're effective like 16, 18 hours of the day instead of me just having 8 hours. We've got it together. We just have a different time frame. So that's how things work. So if I could ever get her up at 9 o'clock, I'll have her join me. Okay. Because on TikTok Live, so I tell you, on TikTok Live, she does it with me. But that's at 8 o'clock at night. See, that's in her wheelhouse right there.
I got you. Well, we'll see you next month. Thank you so much, Dr. Taylor.
All right.
It's Dr. Eldrick Taylor. We're going to go to a break. We'll be right back.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.